in the icy grip of the North Atlantic, where the land is carved by glaciers and the ocean is an endless expanse of treacherous cold, something vanished without a trace. A lone kayaker, an experienced adventurer, a seeker of solitude set out into the vast, unforgiving waters surrounding Greenland, only to disappear as if swallowed by the frozen abyss itself. What happened to him? How does a man skilled and prepared simply cease to exist in a place where survival depends on every fragment of strength and wit? This is a story shaped by mystery, suspense, and the haunting quiet of the Arctic wild. Tonight, we delve deep into a vanished story, one that unfolds in the stark, spectacular yet merciless environment of Greenland's coastal ice fjords. It is a story of human courage against nature's icy dominion, a story shadowed by unanswered questions and the relentless pursuit of truth amid a world where hope can freeze and shatter in the blink of an eye. The year was 2016, a time when adventure travel had soared in popularity, and Greenland, long remote and enigmatic, had begun drawing attention from explorers and thrill-seekers alike. The Arctic landscape, with its towering ice cliffs, hidden crevasses, and waters dotted with icebergs, offers breathtaking beauty, but also a constant gnawing threat to those who dare to navigate its depths. The location off the western coast of Greenland, near the serene yet isolating town of Sisimiut, was a remote outpost that thrived quietly on the edge of civilization. Here, the traditional Inuit way of life still held fast, intertwined with the modern world's encroachment through tourism and scientific research. It was into this fragile balance that our protagonist paddled, not just chasing adventure, but craving a kind of communion with the raw, untouched elements. But the Arctic, with its eternal ice, was an unforgiving host. It demanded respect, vigilance, and sometimes it took what it would never return. As the sun hung low on the horizon, bathing the ice-sheathed fjord in an eerie twilight, the kayaker's silhouette faded into the endless expanse. Moments later, he was gone. No distress call, no sign of struggle, simply vanished. Today, we journey through the chilling twists and turns of this enigma, who he was, the life he led, the fateful day when the water conquered the man, the desperate search that followed, tangled theories, and shocking revelations that would come years later. Welcome to the story of the kayaker who disappeared off Greenland and the haunting echoes he left behind. He was Anders Jensen, a Danish adventurer known for his passion for solitary expeditions. In his late 30s, he was a man of quiet intensity, with features weathered by wind and sun, and eyes that held the restless glare of someone continuously chasing the horizon. Anders was not reckless. He was meticulous, a planner who respected nature's fury, yet longed to test its boundaries. Anders lived a life rooted in simplicity and solitude. For years, he had devoted himself to exploring some of the Earth's most remote waterways, from the fjords of Norway to the wild rivers of Canada. But nothing captivated him more than Greenland's stark majesty. Here, amidst the massive ice caps and the piercing cold, he found a silence deeper than any he had ever heard. His days followed a rhythm dictated by the elements. Before dawn, he would prepare his gear, inspect his kayak, a sleek, sturdy vessel designed to brave these glacial waters and map out tentative routes through the icy labyrinth. His companions were often the wind, the cries of distant seabirds, and the rhythm of the ocean waves breaking gently against floating ice. On one particular morning in August 2016, the air was crisp, the sky pale and vast. The sun hovered near the horizon, casting long blue shadows across the fjord. Anders had spent weeks in Sisimiut, acclimating, gathering supplies, and waiting for the right weather windows to attempt a solo journey along the coast. The town of Sisimiut, nestled just above the Arctic Circle, was a blend of old and new traditional wooden houses with colorful facades, small shops selling local fish, and an airstrip connecting it to the wider world. Despite its population of just over 500, it was a hub for explorers drawn by the untamed wilderness. Anders' daily life in Sisimiut was solitary, but not lonely. He would frequent the local coffee house, exchanging a few words with the fishermen and researchers, always polite but reserved. His presence was like a wave, coming and going, fleeting, yet marked by a distinct energy. His preparations for the journey were methodical. He checked his satellite phone, studied weather reports, loaded dehydrated meals, and inspected emergency beacons. To his friends, he appeared confident, serene even. But behind that calm facade lay the unspoken tension of a man who understood the thin margin between survival and disappearance in these polar waters. The icy fjord landscape mirrored Anders' own duality, beautiful yet lethal. Towering icebergs, some as large as buildings, drifted slowly, their blue hues glowing beneath the surface, hiding jagged edges and hidden currents. The rocky coastline was rugged and unwelcoming, edged by snowfields melting only slightly in the brief Arctic summer. It was here, between ice and sea, that Anders planned to paddle alone, tracking across kilometers of open water and narrow channels, eager to capture the rawness of the Arctic experience, yet unaware that this would be the last leg of his journey. The morning Anders vanished began like any other cold but clear wind, steady but manageable. He left the small cabin he had rented by the shore shortly after sunrise, his kayak packed and ready. He had told a few locals he planned to circumnavigate a nearby ice fjord, a trip demanding focus but one he had successfully made before on past occasions. At 7:30 a.m., Anders was seen launching his kayak from the rocky beach paddle, slicing the still water with practiced ease. A morning fisherman spotted him and noted his calm demeanor, the way he navigated carefully through the floating ice in the early light. By mid-morning, the weather began to shift subtly. Clouds gathered overhead, and the wind picked up, sending ripples that suggested a storm brewing in the distance. But Anders pressed on, disappearing round a bend in the fjord, where visibility soon lessened. Shortly after noon, a sudden loud crack resonated across the fjord, the unmistakable sound of a calving glacier shedding a chunk of ice into the water. Eyewitnesses from the shore reported seeing towering waves ripple out, tossing what small boats remained into uneasy motion. No one would see Anders again. His kayak was not found, no sign of a capsize or debris. His emergency beacon remained silent. His satellite phone went unanswered, adding to the unsettling mystery. On shore, worry took hold swiftly. The fishing community and local authorities launched initial calls and searches, but the storm gathering overhead forced many to pause, the elements too fierce to risk a rescue mission. By late afternoon, the fjord was enveloped in dense fog, obscuring ships and helicopters alike. Hours bled into days with no response, no sighting, no message. Anders Jensen, once a figure of calm and control on these waters, was erased from sight. His family, informed by anxious local officials, clung to hope as days turned into restless nights. Friends grappled with the impossible. How could a man so well prepared simply vanish without a trace in a place they all knew was perilous, yet rarely claimed a victim? The waves whispered, but revealed no secrets. The disappearance sent ripples far beyond Sisimiut. News spread quickly through social media and national headlines. Another adventure lost to the Arctic's cold embrace. Speculation bloomed in the absence of facts, turning Anders' story from a tale of courage into a chilling enigma. The search for Anders was exhaustive. Greenland's police, aided by local fishermen hunters skilled in tracking the terrain, and a small army of volunteers combed the coastline and fjords. Aircraft scoured the skies during breaks in the storm, scanning for any sign of kayaks, floating gear, or distress signals. Inside the towns and villages, candlelight vigils and community meetings underscored the profound anxiety settling over the region. The search effort became a collective obsession, the unknown fueling both hope and dread. Despite multiple expeditions, no tangible evidence surfaced. No pieces of Anders' kayak washed ashore. No signals pinged from his emergency devices. Divers inspected nearby underwater channels where ice shifted silently, holding onto secrets only the depths knew. Interviews with locals, colleagues, and fellow adventurers painted a picture of a man committed to caution and preparation. There was no known enemy, no reason to vanish intentionally. But the Arctic offered no solace for certainty. Media coverage brought outside attention, global news outlets framing the disappearance as yet another testament to the extreme dangers of solo expeditions. Yet the remote location and nature of his journey complicated rescue and investigation. An especially tense moment arrived when a satellite image recorded an indistinct object near the exit point of the fjord, too far from shore to be confirmed as debris yet too close to be ignored. The investigators sent out teams, but the object had vanished when they arrived. As days stretched on, leads dried up, and the official search downsized, turning over the case to cold file status. However, private investigators and local experts refused to give up. They scoured old Inuit oral histories and patterns of ocean currents, hoping natural phenomena might explain a disappearance so profound, yet so silent. No break emerged. Just freezing waters, relentless ice, and the unanswered question, how does one man disappear in a place so isolated, leaving behind only whispers carried by the winter wind? In the face of silence, theories multiplied. Some suggested Anders might have been swept out by a sudden rogue wave or caught in an iceberg's hidden current, pulled under and crushed by ice impossible to detect from above. Others speculated whether an unforeseen predator of the Arctic, the elusive orca, or even polar bears could play a role, though the latter seemed unlikely on open water. A more sinister notion crept quietly: could there have been foul play? A few tourists and fishermen recalled brief disputes or odd encounters with strangers around Sisimiut men, unfamiliar to the tight-knit community. Were these harmless, or did danger lurk within the human element? Certain reports hinted at sightings of a mysterious vessel near where Anders was last seen. A black inflatable boat reportedly prowled the fjord during the same week, its origins unknown, leaving investigators to wonder if illegal activities such as smuggling or poaching might intersect with Anders's disappearance. Additionally, rumors circulated about a growing underground network of treasure hunters diving under Greenland's ice shields. Could Anders have inadvertently crossed into a zone best left alone? Conflicting testimonies further tangled the web. A local elder spoke of strange changes in ice patterns suggesting shifting currents uncharted and deadly. A researcher proposed that methane releases from melting permafrost might create chaotic water pockets, rendering kayaking perilous when least expected. Each theory held pieces of truth and shadows of doubt, but none led conclusively to Anders. Friends were divided. Some clung to hope of survival. Others wrestled with acceptance of death. Conspiracy theories emerged online, claims of government cover-ups, secret experiments in Arctic waters, or that Anders, tired of solitude, staged his own disappearance. None bore credible evidence, but in a story so empty of answers, fiction often gained ground. Thus suspicion and speculation became companions to grief, weaving a darker tapestry around the vanished kayaker, deepening the mystery layer by layer. Years passed. The case grew cold and the Arctic summer melted into relentless winters. Yet in 2021, a significant discovery cast new light on the mystery. A group of researchers studying ice currents stumbled upon a half-submerged object, ensnared in a twisted patch of seaweed in an isolated bay, some 60 kilometers south of Sisimiut, a place rarely visited, shielded by labyrinthine fjords. The object fragments of a kayak paddle marked subtly with a serial number matching Anders's personal gear. This find reignited the search and speculation with renewed urgency. Further exploration uncovered a partially damaged satellite phone, lodged inside a cavern formed by glacier overhangs bearing signs of recent use. But the data chip inside was missing a vital puzzle piece never recovered. More shocking was a notebook found sealed in a waterproof case filled with Anders' meticulous logs. The entries hinted at an unexpected encounter days before his disappearance. He wrote of strange noises beneath the water, a shadow following from beneath the ice, and a mounting unease about being watched. Experts analyzed these notes, leaning toward a chilling hypothesis. A sudden underwater hazard or a yet undiscovered sea phenomenon might have played a crucial role in his vanishing. But the most dramatic revelation came when an Inuit hunter reported to authorities an unusual cave near the area, marked with faint scratches, possibly human-made. A search team found footprints partially buried in frost, leading into the hole, though none returned. The cave's entrance remained sealed off by ice and rock, untouched, but laden with secrets. No definitive explanation emerged from these discoveries. The case teeters on the edge of myth and reality, fueled by fragments that tease truth, yet never reveal it fully. The final chapter remains unwritten, the Arctic holding its silence tight as ever, leaving us to wonder if Anders Jensen truly slipped beneath the waters, or if something else, something beyond our understanding, claimed him. The tale of Anders Jensen, the kayaker who disappeared off Greenland, is one woven from the threads of courage, nature's brutal indifference, and the fragile line between adventure and oblivion. We retrace the key moments, a man driven by restless spirit and skilled precision, the serene yet deadly Arctic setting, the fateful day when he ventured alone into waters that swallowed him whole, the desperate search that combed ice and fog, and the theories shadowed in uncertainty. Despite breakthroughs that tease with cryptic hints, a paddle found a notebook of silent warnings, footprints leading into the unknown. The mystery remains unresolved. The haunting chill of the Arctic silence is a constant companion, underscoring human vulnerability when faced with the vast indifference of the natural world. This story transcends a mere disappearance. It reflects our deepest fears, the uncertainty of fate in a world far larger than ourselves, the limits of human endurance, and the haunting possibility that some stories are never meant to be fully told. Anders' vanishing is a mirror held to our own desire to explore and the price that quest sometimes demands. A price paid with questions unanswered, with echoes that tremble just beneath the surface of memory. So we ask ourselves as night descends over the frozen fjords of Greenland, when the cold claims a soul in silence, do they vanish forever? Or do they become part of the eternal mystery, drifting beneath the ice, waiting for the day when the waters might finally reveal their secrets?